Welcome to today's episode, and Derek Muto is my name. As we promised in the previous episode, we are back to discuss the menstrual cycle. Here we should be able to talk about ovulation, fertile days, and the non-fertile days. Now, a normal menstrual cycle is as short as 21 days and it is as long as 35 days. So, when you get 35 plus 21 divided by 2, you are going to have 28. So, in our discussion today, we are going to use an average menstrual cycle of 28 days. This does not mean that everybody undergoes a menstrual cycle of 28 days, but we are simply using this as an example. So, if you understand a 28 days cycle, then you should be able to understand your own menstrual cycle. It is important to note that in younger girls, neither menstruation nor ovulation occurs. It only does occur if they reach puberty. On average, puberty in females is about 10 to 15 years. All the changes that a young girl undergoes at puberty are hormonal controlled. We shan't discuss that for now, but we shall discuss the hormonal control of the menstrual cycle in our next video. The menstrual cycle. We shall discuss this in phases, and let's start with days 1 to 13. This is called the follicular phase because the Graafian follicle develops during this period. The name Graafian was named after the Dutch physician Reinier de Graaf. This phase entails development and maturation of the ovarian follicle, and only one, the dominant follicle, grows to maturity, and this is the Graafian follicle. The others degenerate by day 7. It also entails secretion of estrogen hormone under the control of follicle stimulating hormone secreted by the anterior pituitary gland. Many primary ovarian follicles grow at the same time, but only one of them reaches full maturation into a Graafian follicle. The developing Graafian follicle secretes estrogen that is responsible for the proliferative phase of the uterine cycle. We can divide this period into two, that is, days 1 to 7 and days 7 to 13. Let's start with day 1 to 7. Here, menstruation occurs, and this is the monthly shedding of the innermost lining called the endometrium of a woman's uterus. The common features during menstruation are headaches, depressions, emotional distress. One can call it mood swings. The commonest menstrual disorder or abnormalities include abnormal or abnormally painful periods, no menstrual bleeding at all, too light menstrual flow, and heavy or prolonged menstrual bleeding. The causes of menstrual disorders or abnormalities are hormonal imbalance, genetics, sexually transmitted diseases, uterine fibroids, cancer, among others. Let us look at days 7 to 13. These are the safe days because the ovum is not mature and therefore incapable of being fertilized. Let us look at day 14, and this is where ovulation occurs. Egg cells start to form when the fetus is still in the womb. At birth, around 400,000 cells have reached a certain stage, call it the primary oocyte. Each month after puberty, one of these cells completes its development into a secondary oocyte. The Graafian follicle ruptures and releases the secondary oocyte or the mature ovum or the egg from the ovary. It occurs once in every 28 days during the fertile period of the human female. Each month, one ovary produces an egg, a process called ovulation. It doesn't occur during pregnancy, but it sometimes occurs during lactation. Now, we have signs of ovulation, something that you can use to determine whether ovulation is taking place or not. And these are increased sexual desire, increased basal body temperature, ovulation pain. Sometimes you can experience some sharp pain in the lower abdomen, but take note that this isn't the only cause of the pain. We have breast tenderness, though it isn't the only cause of breast tenderness. People, for example, who are in family planning, who are pregnant, might also experience the same sign. The other sign of ovulation is increase in the secretion of mucus near the cervix. The other sign is change in the cervical position. In the fertile days, the cervix moves up, becomes soft, and opens slightly. In the non-fertile days, it moves down, becomes harder, and it is more closed. Now, some people experience what we call irregular ovulation, and there are symptoms or signs that can be used to show that you could be experiencing irregular ovulation. Number one is anovulation or no ovulation. So if your periods are unpredictable, you might be having this problem. Number two is missing periods for months or for long, more so if you are not in family planning. 3. Very short or very long cycles. As we have seen, a normal cycle can be as short as 21 days or as long as 35 days. So if a cycle is shorter or longer than this can be a sign of irregular ovulation. Now, let us look at days 17 to 28. This is called the luteal phase because the corpus luteum develops during this period. Now, we have got a scenario where fertilization has occurred and where fertilization has not occurred. Let's start with one where no fertilization has occurred. So, if no fertilization occurs, the remains of the Graafian follicle turn into the corpus luteum that persists for 9 to 14 days, then rapidly degenerates to form the corpus albicans, which is simply a fibrous body, leading to menstruation as progesterone and estrogen levels lower. But if fertilization occurs, the remains of the Graafian follicle turn into the corpus luteum that persists for about 3 months. This means that estrogen and progesterone production continues, meaning no menstruation occurs, then slowly degenerates as its function is taken over by the placenta. In summary, we have seen that a menstrual cycle is as short as 21 days, it is as long as 35 days. Even when we have discussed a 28 days menstrual cycle, you are still normal, even when yours is either below or above 28. Again, we have seen that menstruation nor ovulation do not occur when it comes to young girls. Again, we have seen that the changes that occur in the young girls at puberty stage are hormonal control. On the chart showing the number of days, from day 1 to day 7, she is menstruating. Much as not everybody takes 7 days, most people can take 3, 4, even 5 days. But even when it goes up to 7 days, she is still normal. So during this period, there is shedding off of the endometrium. During this period, she is not clean, and that is within the red color. Days 7 to 12 in blue, she is safe. Why? Because the developing egg is immature. Therefore, it is incapable of being fertilized to form a zygote. That's why she's safe. From days 12 to 16 in yellow, she is most likely to get pregnant. One can call them the fertile days. Why? Because the egg is most likely to be released at mid-cycle, at the 14th day of this cycle. Therefore, a couple looking for children, you can take note of this period. From 16 to 28 in blue, she is again safe. And therefore, we can say from days 7 to 12, safe days, days 16 to 28, safe days, and then days 12 to 16, non-safe days. Now, take note that the use of the safe days and the non-safe days as a method of family planning only works if your cycle is consistent, if your periods are unpredictable. If your cycle is inconsistent, this method is improper for you to use. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.